In this video, we're gonna dissect Mantis, an action figure from the toy company Sexy Eyes 2019. I'll tell you why I think this is the sexiest insect I've ever seen, and the claws are not even the best thing about it. So in the next few minutes, I'll show you what I like and why some of you might hate it. In the end, I'm gonna make a verdict. Is it worth keeping or should I let it go? By the way, my name's Al and I've been collecting toys on and off for 9 years now. This channel, Studio Aureal, is where I share my thoughts on action figures and other topics related to toy collecting. Let's start. Sexy Eyes is a new Chinese toy company and this is their first global release. Their promo images of Mantis showcased great articulation and nice paint apps, and that's what got me interested. If you've watched Kamen Rider or Kamen Rider Black Sun, this has a similar concept where human DNA is spliced with insect DNA to make a super soldier. At the back of the box is a nice emblem that looks like a good tattoo design, and at the front is a nice line art of the character. From the Instagram posts of Sexy Eyes, it seems she may have been a failed experiment. There's no published comic book or lore, so her story is subject to your personal interpretation. While I'm trying to bust her out, make sure to check my links on the description down below. Like, share, and comment to help push my channel up the algorithm, and subscribe if you haven't already. The figure is well protected inside a plastic case. Taped at the back is an instruction manual showing you how to swap the extra parts and accessories. A small plastic case contains an alternate faceplate. At first glance, I gotta say I'm impressed with the sculpt. The paint looks clean and you'll notice straight away that her antennae are solid and made of metal. The weight distribution feels balanced. She smells like fresh paint or lacquer, which is a sign that this is fully or at least partially hand-painted. Let's take a closer look. Mantis has a humanoid female form with an insect exoskeleton. From a distance, the sculpt and paint finish looks good. There are mold lines if you look really close or use a magnifying glass. Most of these are minor and unnoticeable. She has a head of a mantis, and below this is a somewhat pretty face, and the mantis head becomes a sort of helmet or headdress. Her antennae are solid and made of metal. The detail is consistent at the back with what looks like layers of armor. The mantis head has nice detail and the pink eyes are glossy, same as the eyes on her face. This two heads design can be a bit off, but if you focus on her face, it looks fine. Her face reminds me of the Rakasiels from Phantasy Star Online. I think the paint is executed quite well as you can see a nice gradient pattern on her extremities. Her anthropomorphic features blend well with the insect parts, especially at the torso where the exoskeleton showcases a lot of detail. The front and back look phenomenal. Despite her petite appearance, the sculptor knows where to put the curves, but nothing is exaggerated. There's no need for huge breasts or bum, but she still looks sexy, but not in a hentai and definitely not in a waifu kind of way. Looking at this figure, I think the concept is well thought out, and she looks like she can exist in the real world. And for me, that means it's a great design. Detail, paint, and sculpt are consistent from top to bottom, and it will only get better from here as we move on into her articulation. First up, this is how solid her antenna is, so you don't have to worry about breaking it. Her head has a full 360 degrees rotation at the base, and the neck rotates too. It can swivel side to side pretty well. She can look down a lot, and look up this much, showing a great range of motion. This part at the back swivels and goes up and down. It covers the head joints at the back quite good. Shoulders can move all the way up if you rotate the arms a bit. Ball joints connect with the body similar to Figma. There's no butterfly joint, but her arms can move forward this much and it looks good at the front and sides. Shoulders can rotate fully. Her biceps and forearms also rotate. Hands connect with a ball joint and can do what ball joints do, but with risk of coming off from time to time. She has an elbow bend that's more than 90 degrees, and this is how it looks like at the back. Her torso can swivel side to side, and the range is better on the upper part. She has full rotation on the upper part, with some rotation on her lower abdomen. And I think everything's on a ball joint because it can do this as well. She can bend forward a lot, and bend back this much. Ab crunch looks like this at the front, and as usual, joints will be exposed at the back for extreme poses. This part moves when you pose her legs. Her hips connect to a ball joint, so she has good hip movement and rotation. The thighs are also in a ball joint, so it has a bit of swivel, but if you rotate it, the hips rotate along with the thighs and are a bit difficult to isolate. A lot of the parts are sculpted so they don't get in the way of articulation. She can do a full side-to-side split, and lower limbs can move forward and back this much, which is pretty good. She has double-jointed knees that bend more than 90 degrees, and her legs can rotate a little bit. Her feet can swivel forward and back, and has full rotation, allowing you to pivot. I'm impressed with how articulated this figure is. The way the joints are designed remind me a lot of Figma, but the range overall is a lot greater in every aspect. Even with a single jointed arm, she can do a lot. And despite having small feet, she can stand on her own even in action poses. I could spend hours just posing and taking pictures. I like that you can pose her really close to the ground, and I think she would look really good outdoors and in nature settings. The joints at the back will show up for extreme poses though, but it's something you don't have to worry about at the front. One negative aspect are the handball socket, which became a bit loose after swapping out hands and claws a few times, although tightening the joints should be an easy fix. The leg rotation is a bit loose in my copy, but she can maintain her poses anyway. Overall, posing this figure was a nice experience, and despite seeing what she can do on the promo images already, I'm still impressed with the poses she can achieve. I can say that Mantis is one of the best articulated figures in 2024. She has a total of 3 faceplates. The first one is a smoother normal face with white eyes. The next one starts to have insect features with red eyes. And the last one is this totally awesome, scary faceplate. The thing coming out of her eyes is actually a parasite. If you haven't heard this before, there are tons of videos out there, but just a bit of a warning, this might haunt you in your sleep. It's a parasite that controls Mantis and possesses its body, so yeah, scary stuff. To swap the faceplates, pop the faceplate off of the ball joint, which looks like this. Swap it with the other one, making sure it's locked in place with a click. Next, we move to the hands. She has relaxed opened hands, closed fists, holding hands for her weapon, grabby opened hands or claw hands, hands for crawling or touching the floor or walls, and lastly, a peace sign hand. Details and paint are consistent with all the hands. She has a pair of articulated insect claws that bend in the middle and connect the arms with a ball swivel joint. Its red to dark green gradient and sharp spikes give it a more organic feel. Just be careful not to hurt yourself while handling these. She has 2 smaller insect claws with the same color scheme and joints. To swap hands, you simply pop the hand off the socket and pop the alternate hand in. It's the same for the insect claws, but you might want to heat up her arms a bit for that. There's an extra socket behind her arms where you can attach the other claw. Basically, these are interchangeable so you can mix and match the insect claws, and they will look like this when used together. My favorite configuration is when the articulated insect claws are attached to the socket at the back while her humanoid hands are attached the usual way. I just think she looks badass this way. Last but not the least, she has an insect sight, which has a red to black gradient all over. On one end is a pointed red spike, while the blade of the scythe looks like her insect claws, but with even more spikes. To put this on, pull the pointed part at the base, slide the holding hands in, put the pointed part back on, and attach the hand to the arm. And now you can watch her look effortlessly stunning with that scythe. Mantis has enough accessories for a huge variety of poses and allows you to somewhat customize a little bit. I forgot to say you can configure the eyes and swap it out, giving you more customization options, but personally I don't find that necessary. I love the head with the parasite because it made this supposedly simple concept seem more deluxe or premium, and it also allows us, the collectors, to tell her story. The only downside is if you're swapping the hands to the claws, it can make the arm sockets loose. But this can be easily fixed by some blue tack or dried wood glue, which is how I fixed mine. She also doesn't come with a stand, but she can stand well on her own 2 feet anyway. So overall, the accessories are enough, details on the tiny bits are consistent, and I love the fact that the scythe and the parasite head make this figure seem premium. Mantis stands at around 14.3 centimeters in height, which makes her around 5 foot 7 inches tall in real life. Adding up her antenna, we get a total height of around 17 centimeters. Here's how she stands with Snail Shell's Bunny Girl Eileen and my custom Ghost of Kurosawa action figure. Here's how she looks beside SH Figuarts Guts in Berserker armor and SH Figuarts Spider-Punk. Here's Figma Ronin on the left, and Figma Samurai on the right. Here's Savage Crucible's Royal Guard, and lastly, Reveltech Agent Venom. As you can see, Mantis blends well with other figures despite her unique look, and she can look like one of your usual villains or monsters in a dungeon. Mantis by Sexy Eyes 2019 is way beyond what the usual action figure has at 1:12 scale, especially at this price range. The artist and sculptor went all the way with her insecty spikes and exoskeleton in a very feminine anthropomorphic body. It's amazing how her sharp features blend well with her curves. I also like her color scheme because it's light and easy on the eyes, and the red parts seem to glow. I understand that the design may not be for everybody because not everyone likes insects. But for me, this is peak creativity and artistry. Having the chance to play with this final product is a whole new experience. She's a unique character and I'm glad she was rendered with this level of detail, paint, and articulation. She looks like she can exist in the real world, making Mantis a timeless piece of art. So am I keeping Mantis or letting her go? The answer should be obvious. I'm keeping her because she's a good girl and a reminder that any concept, design, or artwork can go a long way when made by a good team. She will definitely look good outdoors and I'll take photos outside when it's warmer. If anyone from Sexy Eyes is watching, just to let you know I really love this product and I'd be happy to do a collab on your next projects. Thanks for watching, this is Studio Aureal and I'll see you on the next one.